Hey Nelly, when are we going to see your natural hair?
Hey James, when do you think your hairline will stop receding? Yeah, James, why don't you leave Nelly alone and go and find another test to fail?
You've probably not even got any hair under there.
I bet your mum's got no hair under her stiff wig.
I bet she'd wear it if her hair looked like Jessie's and Catherine's.
I love my natural hair, actually. I just prefer my wigs.
Yeah, sure you do, Nelly. That's why we never bloody see it.
I don't understand why everyone's so bothered about what I do with my hair. I wish they'd just leave me to do what I want. I wonder if this will tell me what to say to James to make him finally leave me alone. The power of language, setting realistic goals, natural hair and your environments. Sometimes the best response is no response. Don't feel away if you don't want to engage in a conversation. Oftentimes, without further conversation on your end to feed the discussion, it will naturally fade into nothing. I actually might read this after all. Auntie might have actually got it right this Christmas.
Today, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I have created a viral anime series on my own with no assistance team or budget from anyone else, because every single production company I've been to thus far has told me no. And I know there's probably a lot of people out there that have meaningful missions, that have purposeful brands and don't have the resource to be able to get the visibility that people with a bag of money do. So I want to try and make sure I don't gatekeep. And if anybody wants a comprehensive step-by-step dummies guide on everything I'm about to go through in this video, maybe like me is more of a visual learner, check the description for a range of links to ebooks that I have created to ensure that you have all the support you need to create content just like this. Today, I'm going to go into the first step of how to get an anime series that, for me, in 7 days, generated over 1 million views and got me roughly 11,000 followers on a dedicated page. Start with storyboarding. I open up Claude AI. I make sure that I use Claude to help me to formulate any of the ideas that I have. I have a book called How to Love Your Afro. The goal is, of course, to promote the book and to make sure that I am giving little tidbits of knowledge and learnings from the pages direct to the viewers. Why are you doing this? What is the key goal? What's your conversion metric? Is it a sale of a product? Is it you want somebody to buy a book? Do you want them to follow you? Is it just that you want to add meaning to their lives? Whatever it is, have that in your mind at the beginning before you start creating, and then that way you know where you need to end. What are the key takeaways you want in each episode to be communicated? So what is the message every single episode that you want the viewer to be able to take away with them? So from episode 1 all the way through to episode 8, what is going to be the big message you need to land? And if you almost work backwards from 8, then it means that you'll be able to make sure that you're not wasting your time on an episode that you might enjoy. That can happen. You can get really caught up in the creative process and then start to build out what feels like your own personal Netflix drama, forgetting the point of why you started this in the first place. So structure is by far the most important first step. I will word vomit into Claude. I will let Claude help me to then turn it into structured episodes. So when I had the first concept for the How to Love Your Afro anime series, I had ideas for characters, and I asked Claude to help me to formulate or to rework exactly how I would need to take that viewer on a journey throughout each of the episodes. The next piece of the puzzle is understanding your hooks. You need to grab people straight away. You need to find some kind of issue that they're battling with during the episode. Give them partial resolution so that you give that person watching the warm and fuzzies without giving it all away. And then always leave on a cliffhanger. Something that I actually asked Claude to do for me is help me to understand how the producers at the likes of Netflix structure their TV shows. Guide me in the way that I would be guided if I already had a production team, because no one's replying to my emails. So I have to find a way around it. And it was very helpful. They gave me so many very interesting tips and tricks. Next, you need to understand your animation style. I am a fiend for anime. So there was never going to be anything else. But if you want to do Pixar, do whatever you want. But you need to understand exactly what it's called. So for me, the anime style that I used was the Great Pretender anime animation. And I had to make sure I used the right terminology, otherwise the AI will continuously get it wrong. Especially if you're using different platforms. If you don't make it very clear and you say anime to Claude and you say anime to chat, then you say anime to Higgsfield, I promise you, they will all come up with different variations. The best way to do this is to reverse engineer by finding a clip or a photo of the type of animation that you want, and then you just attach it and you input it and you ask Claude, describe the type of animation here, and then whatever it tells you, you use that, and that is your framework. You continue to copy and paste that in every single tool where you are generating an image or you are creating a character to make sure that you have consistency from the beginning to end, despite the tool that you're using. Go to Higgsfield. The tool that I used within Higgsfield is Nano Banana Pro. I will always start by creating a scene. It could be a living room, it could be a coffee shop, but for each episode, try to make sure that you're not flicking between several different locations, because number one, you're going to burn out your credits and they are not cheap. But number two, you will also be able to use something called multi-shot in Kling 3.0 if you are consistently using the same image and the same location for every single scene in that episode. I will Google an image and I will simply attach it and say, make the living room look like this, but do up 2 fluffy cushions and a pink rug. It's so much easier that way. And of course, always regurgitate the animation style that you are using, otherwise it will just generate a photo of a real life living room, which is not helpful for an anime series. Once you have your scene, then you can start building your characters. You can use references if you like. If there's somebody that you have in your family, if you want to use yourself, put your photo in there, go ahead. And it will create, with the right animation style, a version of you good to go. If you have a certain outfit that you want to be wearing, that will save you a lot of time. Little details that you think don't matter really do. Do they have freckles? Do they have high cheekbones and big lips and a small nose? Do they have medium brown, warm caramel skin? Like, that's the level of detail that will get you that chef's kiss generation. Try and make a few versions. You might get just a tiny tweak on the third version. That's something that you haven't even considered. And you think, yeah, that's perfect. Then what you want to do is use this prompt. I've also put it in the caption. This will help you to create a character profile, but a 360-degree profile of that individual character based on the description that you've given. This is helpful because if you're creating a scene, and let's say you want somebody to be sat down and it be a side profile shot, but the AI only has the one generated character from in front of them, then it might do some madness on the side. I've seen it before. In the same way that if you want a shot from behind that character and it doesn't quite know what you want the behind to look like, it will make it up. And all of a sudden you have a random person in your anime series that you don't recognize. Once you have your scene and your character profiles, you can attach both of them when you write your prompt, and then the fun begins. I would also start to lock in with shots and camera angles. Yes. Somebody the other day said, oh, all she's doing is pressing a button and you guys are giving her all this praise. Is it? Is that what I'm doing, big man? Because I had to find a list of camera shots. Extreme close-up, medium close-up, wide shot, floating camera angle. Understanding what each shot does and how it then sets up a scene will then allow you to have complete control over what you see when it generates that still. And you think it's not a big deal until you generate something and your brain is saying, no, I want it to be closer to that person's face, or no, I want it to be looking from this direction, or I want it to be coming through the windshield of the car from a top angle. There are words, and directors who build TV shows and films know these words, and that's the language that they use to be able to curate the kind of shots that really make you feel something. And when you have an idea in your head, I think the problem is that we often don't have the language to be able to correctly reflect what we want to see. And that's, again, it's a credit burner. Once you have a better understanding of shot sizes, framing, camera angles, whether it's high angle, low angle, if it's a point of view shot, is it from behind the head over the shoulder, then you're going to start to elevate the stills, and when you elevate the stills, the animation takes a much shorter length of time. Next, animation. I burnt a lot of credits on animating the images, which basically is just taking the stills that you've generated in Nano Banana and then turning them into real motion clips. I use Kling 3.0. I also use Kling Omni. Personally, I prefer Kling 3.0 because I can just be lazy and use multi-shot. And I've been able to create an entire episode off of multi-shot. The key here is that whilst the AI is going to be using its own understanding based on your prompt on what it needs to do and how it needs to move the camera, it will also give you these incredible curveball shots that you could have never thought of in your entire life. There have been some like cinematic just masterpieces that I've been able to make where I've tag teamed with the AI and it was able to use what I've said and then come up with a much smoother way to execute that shot that looks incredibly professional. The things that you need to be aware of when using Kling, there is sound if you want it, which means if you want that sound on and the characters are speaking, you need to tell them what accent. I lost a lot of credits with some strange accents that I did not want for British characters. So make sure you keep something at the top, you don't remove it, that says at the top or at the start of every single prompt in Kling, these characters are in England, they are British. And you don't have to think about it. Once you've written it once, I don't write it again. It just stays there for every generation that I do. The next piece of the puzzle is making sure you're also aware of background sounds. Because if you think about day-to-day life, you could be sat in a park. However, in the background, you could hear birds, cars in the distance, children playing. This is the granular level of detail that's required if you want to be able to produce something at the same quality as my How to Love Your Afro anime series. And I assume that you do, otherwise you would not be listening to this. Just a small one-liner talking about there is a low hum in the background of cars in the distance. That's enough. And then all of a sudden you're adding real color and life to what otherwise would have just been a static conversation, or sometimes they fling in a random soundtrack. And again, you want complete control and autonomy over what you're making. So if you don't tell it and you have sound on, it will add things itself that you might not want, and you might have got that perfect scene. And then all of a sudden there's somebody talking in the background or there's music in the background. You think that was not what I wanted. And you may never be able to generate the scene to that standard again, because the other piece of the puzzle is, whilst multi-shot is great, you are leaving quite a lot up to the AI, and it's never going to generate the exact same scene the same way every time. If you found that helpful, don't forget to check the description for my weekly AI Digest newsletter, where you can join a mailing list and I will drop tips, tricks, hints, and guidance on how to optimize AI, not just for animation, from building websites to creating email templates. I will give all of that information week to week free of charge. And to get access to all of my comprehensive ebooks and guides to guide you on how to create content just like this in a step-by-step, easy to follow visual format, I've got all the links and information below. Go and make something amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys create.